Okay, so maybe you're a content creator right now, or you are an upcoming content creator. You've heard about this creator economy and you want to grow in it. You want to make some money. You want to leave your job, your 9 to 5, and all these good things and make opportunity for yourself. But I want to give you some realities to content creation as somebody who works with creators and builds personal brands and has helped in the last year, helped 3 or 4 different people go from quite low numbers to over 100,000 on Instagram. Somebody who built their own TikTok page from 0 to 100,000 on TikTok in 6 months, helps people grow on LinkedIn and wherever's necessary, right? And there'll be some screenshots so you can see these things. Because of the space I'm in, I work with a lot of content creators. And so I'm going to be honest, I understand the reality of content creation. And there is a lot of glitz and glamour on the other side. But there are some things you need to get over, which is what I need to make you aware of right now. Maybe you're in it for the money. Maybe you're in it for virality, which is all there, which can all work. But let's talk about some realities to this and how you can actually be part of the 1% of content creators rather than the normal 99% who are not really seeing too much significant change in their life. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 things that are extremely important to consider for you when building your personal brand, when creating content, and understanding the whole game that it is of content creation. Number 1, at least 50% of content creators quit within the first year. That means the people you see rising up today, making content, but within a year's time, they are not going to be here. And the reality is within 3 years, there is pretty much a new cycle of content creators. And you're kind of looking at the 95% of people who have either stopped or significantly reduced the amount of content that they post. Why is that? Because most people have really, really unrealistic expectations of what they can actually do in this content space within a year. Now, I've personally helped people, and I mean, a good few people grow from very low numbers to over 100,000, as I mentioned before, within 1 year. But then there are a load of other people that go with that gain a couple hundred followers or gain 1,000 followers or gain 2,000 followers. And everybody's trying to be that 0 to 100,000, that 0 to 100K, that 0 to I left my job in a year type situation. And the reality is that isn't everybody's story, and it's not going to be everybody's story, and you shouldn't expect it to be your story. The best content creators that I know, whether it's musicians, whether it's people who are in fitness, whether it's people who are in business, whether it's people who are in fashion, regardless of the type of industry, they have this understanding of the game that I can control my inputs, but I can't necessarily control my outputs. What do I mean by that? They understand that I don't fully know what's going to go viral. I don't fully know what's going to make me the most money. I don't know who's going to watch what. But I do know that if I continue to post consistently, that I do know if I continue to create consistently, I do know if I continue to do the things that are in my power to do, at some point in time, I will get to the destination that I'm aiming to get to. Mr. Beast has been creating content, I believe, for around 10 years, from teenager all the way till now. And we see his success and we say, and everybody says, I want to be just like Mr. Beast. I remember watching Mr. Beast years ago, and Mr. Beast was sitting in his room doing challenges like, I'm going to say the name Jake Paul 1,000,000 times. Would you ever sit in your room and say Jake Paul 1,000,000? Like, would you put yourself through that on camera? It took him hours and hours and hours of just sitting there saying Jake Paul. This is what Mr. Beast was doing to find his way to the top. And there's probably a ridiculous amount of challenges that the majority of followers he has now have never seen, but it was part of his consistency to get there. One of the things you need to get in your head if you want to be one of the 1% creators is that your inputs is what you can control, but you cannot control your outputs. You cannot control if a brand deal goes through. That's the truth. You cannot control if your video goes viral. You cannot control if a dance you make is going to gain traction. You cannot create if a song you make is going to go super, super viral, mega viral and go anywhere, right? Unless you got millions of pounds to spend and you do some kind of just paying people to do stuff, which some people do. But I'm talking on an organic basis here of really getting people to care and love you. You can't control that. And you have to be okay with that. And you have to be okay with potentially something getting 10 views. You have to be okay with something getting 10 likes. You have to be okay with something getting 50 likes. Because the reality is, those 10 people, you may not even know them. They may be complete strangers to you. Those 50 people that view your video, maybe the 50 people that you need to create the opportunity for you that changes your life altogether. I remember my wife posted a video on YouTube that has under 50 views, and that video gave her the opportunity to speak in front of 16,000 people because of a video she put on YouTube that would be considered unsuccessful, that would be considered a failure. But that so-called failure gave her the opportunity to speak in front of 16,000 people, which gave her the opportunity to speak in front of Microsoft and be paid incredible amounts of money to do amazing things. There's somebody else I know that put a video online. They had an investment fund. They put a video online about their investment fund, and somebody contacted them from Indonesia and said to them, hey, I've got £100,000. I think it was 100,000 or 1,000,000 that I want to put in your fund. Bear in mind, this video was just a random video on YouTube that they put up, and it had like 10, 15 views. But one of those 15 people was the right person. You never know who's watching. And so the reality is you can control your inputs. You have no control over any outcomes. The outcomes are purely in the hands of God. So if you trust God to do what he said he's going to do, then now all you need to focus on is doing what you said you were going to do. Are you struggling to create scripts for your videos and your content that are engaging enough and hook people in? I just partnered with this app called VoicePal, which I used personally. I even used it on this video to help me and also to help you script your videos better. VoicePal is an AI assistant for the content creator that allows you to voice record what you're thinking about your content into the app, and it fires questions back to you that help you flesh out the idea and format it in a way that's engaging enough for your audience. So if you're struggling with that, it's a couple of pounds a month and you get 10% off if you use my link. I'll leave it in the description. Go check it out. I used it for this video. It really helps me, and I think it will help you too. Let's get back to the video. My biggest frustration with Christian content creators is how many of you use God said. How many of you tell me God said this, God said that? But when I actually look at what you're doing with your life, I can tell that maybe your emotion said that, but maybe God didn't say that. Or maybe you really don't value the word of God in the way that you say you do. Maybe you don't really value the voice of God. Maybe the voice of God sounds fancy to you. The idea of being an influencer sounds fancy to you. But if God really said that to you, if God really said that this is what you're supposed to do, if God really said you're supposed to do a podcast, if God really said that you're supposed to start that channel, if God really said you're supposed to do this and that and all the rest of it, then there needs to be some grit about you. And oftentimes, I don't see that grit. In fact, I believe that out of the 99% that fail, I believe like 70% of that is just they don't have grit. It's not actually the quality of their content, it's the quality of their mindset. Their mindset isn't strong enough to actually hold through in the tough times of content creation, or in fact anything in life. Everything in life has winds and storms that come and blow. And you know, you may get one viral video, 1 million views, wow, you think you're up, but then the next video, 50, 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and all of a sudden now what's going to happen? You're going to get depressed? Are you going to quit because your views are low now? Or are you going to stick it out? You're going to ride the storm? On this channel, my videos are averaging 100, 150 views. I have one particular video that's got 2,000 views. But I'm not crying because every video doesn't have 2,000 views. That would be very silly of me. In fact, it would be more wise for me to take that video as an anomaly rather than take it as a standard that I need to set and be depressed if I'm not hitting that standard. No, if one of my videos is not hitting 100, 150, I can say, okay, that was maybe a bad video. Fair enough, because that's where we're at right now and the average is constantly growing, praise God. But if I expected every video now to hit 2,000 and if I get upset because I don't get 2,000, what kind of crazy person am I? Like what's actually going on up here? So anyway, that's the first one. I don't want to rant on too much about all of that. Majority of people are gone within the first year. I'm just going to be honest with you. The majority of creators, even people who've paid me to help them create, some of them, they pay me and they're gone within the first year. I know some of them. They pay me thousands of pounds. We work on a project together. We're a 90-day project where we're gonna launch things and we're gonna sort things out for their brand and da. And then even sometimes at the end of the 90 days, they're gone. Or sometimes a month or two after we're done working together, they're gone. They can't hold it up. And this scatter mindset, it's just not going to work for you as a content creator. You need to have a focus, you need to have a goal, and you need to be able to stick to it over a long period of time. Now, let's get into number 2. Not everybody is supposed to be a superstar. Not every content creator is supposed to be an influencer. And when I say an influencer, I mean somebody who has the hundreds of thousands and millions of followers. Not every single one of you, that should be your goal. Why?
Why?
Because the reality is the message that some of you are sharing doesn't actually have an audience size that should warrant you having hundreds and thousands of people. You should actually be more okay with a 10,000 follower range, because if you had 10,000 followers that connect exactly with what you do, you would actually be a massive influencer in your space. But you're looking at the 100 or the million and saying, I need to get to these numbers. But the truth is that some of your niches are quite specific. And so your goals in terms of targeting, in terms of followers and views, shouldn't be based on somebody who has millions. You should actually be really happy if you get 10,000 range, 10,000 good quality followers. I know people who have 10,000 followers and they can sell out events with 200, sometimes 500 people, because their niche is really, really tight. Or maybe they even have communities of over 1,000 people in their community and they only have 10,000 followers because they've been really, really targeted in who they want. And so I would encourage you to be very, very clear on the goals that you want and the direction you're trying to take your brand, because I think it's really, really important. And the direction you're trying to take it in determines the kind of who you're looking for, the niche that you're in, the amount of followers you're looking for, and all of the above, right? Essentially, what I'm trying to say is don't base your standard on the standards of everybody else. You have your own niche, you have your own journey, you have your own lane. Focus on what you're doing. And as long as you are constantly growing, even if it's by 1 follower, 10 followers, 50 followers, per day, per week, per month, where they are loyal, they are loving what you're doing, and they are engaging with you, then you are in a great place. And the third thing that really gets you into the 1%, this is honestly my favorite one, is that the majority of content creators do not understand their data. They've never checked their analytics. In fact, 90% of content creators have spent less than 5 minutes in the analytics section. And that's just the truth. So majority of them don't understand their data. They don't understand their analytics. They don't review their content. They're just throwing stuff out there and they're wondering why things don't perform. Right? They've never actually spent the time to actually study their content and see if they can find the patterns that are making things work and things not work. And that actually makes a huge difference. You'll see amazing content creators like, for example, Meet the Thorpes. I believe their page is called the Relationship Couple. When they do something well and it goes well, they make about 5 different versions of it. Why? Because they understand that their audience is resonating with this, so they need to give them more. But so many content creators do one thing that does really, really well, and they don't provide you with any more of it. They don't feed the streets. They don't feed their community. And then they wonder why their page ain't growing as rapidly as they want. You ain't feeding the streets. You ain't feeding your people. And so understand your data, understand your consistent patterns, understand the behavior so that you can kind of make things work in your favor. And so these are 3 different things that I believe are necessary for you to be in the 1% of content creation. I am somebody who lives and breathes content. It's literally my everyday life. And if you want to learn more about content, I'm going to leave a link below to my course called Make More Money Online. It costs £97. I'm going to be very transparent for you. It's probably like $110. And I believe it will really help you. It will teach you styles of content. It will teach you how to convert that into money. And it's helped a lot of people. And some people have made tens of thousands of pounds from it. It's £97. Enjoy it. And also, if you need help planning out your content, scripting, and things of that nature, I have an amazing app called VoicePal that I'm now a partner with. That is an incredible AI-based app which you can get on your phone, which helps you map out any types of content, whether it's journal entries, YouTube scripts. I actually used it for this YouTube script to help me flesh out my 3 points. And it costs a couple of pounds a month. And I'm going to leave a link in the description as well, so you can check it out. And yeah, you'll get 10% off if you use my link. So check it out in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.